Thanks for staying with us. We love Thursdays. Whoop, whoop. So, a huge percentage of our culture places a high importance on the payment of bride price, sometimes called dowry. But recently, some parents have started to, no, they don't like the idea of collecting dowry. In fact, they rejected, the groom's family often rejected recently. Today's show, we have an Alaga Duro, who is a business coach and deals in anchoring traditional weddings. We have Olufumilayo Omolabake Ajibade. Good morning, Mrs. Ajibade. Are you there?
Good morning, ladies.
Oh, you look amazing. You look like an Alaga Duro. So, good to have you on the show. Now, we're going to talk about the issue of, I'll come to you in a moment. I'd like to hear the ladies' views first on the issue of paying dowry. We understand, we respect culture, but people are women more are feeling that emancipation, that listen, a woman should not be purchased, bought or sold in any way. A woman is just as qualified to do anything and should be treated as a person, not a commodity. So with that view, especially in modern times, do you think the concept of dowry is still required at this time? Or do you think it's something we need to begin to review and say we should not be paying, because our daughters would get married one day, you know? Do we want somebody coming to put money and say, you have paid for her? So let me see, would you like to?
We're not paying for the culture isn't to pay for we're not selling. The dowry is not a payment. The dowry is a show of appreciation, and that how much I value this child that you're giving to me as my wife. So it is not, you cannot, what is the payment? Even the Eastern culture, that they even place a premium on what the groom pays as for the family, is not really a payment for the human life or a payment for service or I'm giving you this person. It is, I appreciate how well you have raised this. They say, we've come to see a flower within your household, and this flower, we want this flower. So to show appreciation for you giving us this child to be with us, then they give you it's a gift. It's a show of I'm appreciating you. It's not a selling of anything selling. And I think that we can't pick and choose the culture we want to take, and that's something we tend to want to do. We want to become modern, so we're picking the culture we are holding on to and the culture we are dropping behind.
But must you use a commodity to show the value you place on somebody? Must it be material things?
What else? No, it mustn't.
Because we've seen marriages in different parts of the world where sometimes is the value you place in somebody doesn't have to be material. Let me come to YK.
Let me talk from my experience. When I was going to get married, my auntie, that's my father's sister, said, oh, that's if I'm getting married, I must do traditional. And I was very, no, what traditional? I just, the marriage broke up after 2 years. But when my daughter was going to get married, I realized what my auntie was saying. And I said, that's traditional. You are going to do it. Your husband is going to do it. They are going to come here and ask for your hand in marriage.
Yeah.
Your husband is going to jump up to the sky.
He will prostrate.
He will prostrate. He will go red to marry you. I'm not compromising it.
Why did you change your mind?
I realized that I made a mistake. I believe that I made a mistake in not doing the traditional
rights.
Yeah. Maybe we are doing the Igbo rights.
Exactly.
Why are we dropping our own tradition? We all go to church. We do go to the registry. There are some that they marry 3 times.
Yes, so me.
They will go to registry.
Me.
They will do traditional, then they will do church.
Yeah, I did everything.
This lock, I lock you.
I lock you.
We lock ourselves.
Okay, let me come to this.
Yeah, so first of all, I think we need to clear it. Dowry is not what a man pays when he's marrying. It's what the woman brings to the husband's house, and we don't have that culture here. I think the English people are the ones who actually take the dowry. What we pay on our wives here is the bride price, and it's not about the money or the service. It's the significance of what you're doing, the significance of the value that you place. So remember back in the Bible days, it was Jacob who had to do how many years for
7 years?
Yes, for Rachel, and then did another 7 years. So at that time, you don't bring anything. You just come and offer.
Serve.
If your father-in-law is a farmer, you come and serve. If he's a trader, you come and serve, just to show that you appreciate what it's coming to you. So it's our tradition, and it's something that the significance also is that it binds you. There's a binding force between you paying and or you bringing some people reject me. It was 7,000 naira, a whole just small 7,000 naira that they collected. If my husband was
goods now.
No, that was what they had to eat now, the cooking, the stuff. And that one is normal because we did a ceremony.
Right.
But some people who don't have money to do ceremony, once you just pay that one, they will share the hot drink and they go. So that amount of money is very insignificant compared to what you're going for. And aside from that, there's also this form of protection you have when something is being it's like an exchange. So you are coming, you are bringing something, and this is to show you that we accept you. We are giving you did not steal this child and you're running away. We are giving this child to you. It's our culture, we should uphold it.
Well, I mean, I get really butterflies when I hear these things, because one second there are things we want to discard in our culture, the next thing there are things we want to retain. And I'm thinking, what measurement are we using to determine what we want to keep and what we want to discard? Because a young person will listen to you right now, and she is maybe 15 years old, and she says, okay, when she's 25 and about to get married, she's going to insist she doesn't want bride price paid on her because she's emancipated, she's a feminist, she believes that a woman should don't show your value for me by giving me my family any material thing, because that is her modern way of thinking. Are we going to discuss that? So at what point do we draw the line? Let me bring our guest in at this point.
Okay.
We have Mrs. Ajibade. Good morning, are you there? Hi, Fumilayo.
Good morning, ladies.
Yes, so someone joined the conversation. I mean, what are your thoughts on this issue of dowry? I mean, many people agree that it's a culture we should uphold. Others are saying, do we want to move forward or not? Are we going to continue to demand payment for a bride at the time of marriage continuously? At some point, some people are saying they don't want to do that anymore. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so as a custodian of culture and tradition, as an alaga, and I've been doing this for quite a while, for a decade and more. I'll say that in our own way, our culture and tradition is the payment of dowry, and I don't think it should stop, because sometimes this payment of dowry actually it shows how much our daughter is valued. You see, some families will come to you, they'll tell you that whatever you're bringing, they feel that is much. You know, your culture doesn't really stress when it comes to payment of dowry. When you talk about the Igbos, they have the larger dowry payments in terms of the things area which they bring. But really, I think for our own culture, I don't think dowry should be stopped.
Okay.
Because a white wedding is for the Westerners, as in for the whites, which is their own way of doing things, which is their own culture. Our own culture is the traditional wedding, traditional engagement wedding, whereby the groom's family and the groom with his friends, they come with whatever the bride's family puts on the list for them, with envelopes to ask for the bride's family hand in marriage.
Right. So
some parents are quite considerate. They're considerate in what the list they give to the groom, so that it wouldn't be too much, so that it won't be something that he will start complaining that this is way too much for me to do.
But do you think? Okay. Let me pause you for a second. 1 second.
Payment of dowry should be discontinued. It's our culture, it's a tradition.
Okay.
I like what she said, because she said the white wedding is the white wedding, Oyibo's way.
Their culture.
So what you are calling modern is actually colonial. What you're calling, I don't want bride price, it's actually colonial. That is not our way. It is the Oyibo's way. Oyibo brought white wedding. That is why when they wear white, they look very pure. We are dark skinned. So when we wear white, some of us, you see someone black wear a white dress. You say, say, girl, you're fine. And if that same girl wears her traditional outfit,
you will see the beauty.
She will look beautiful. You will know that she's a better, fine lady. Because we have imbibed, we have collected that Oyibo culture because of our colonialism and taken it as our own. In fact, we do it more than them.
Yes, so.
For what Mariah is saying, I understand. Let's see the perspective of that woman, because sometimes some men have taken advantage of this culture to feel like they've owned the woman. I paid your bride price. I paid. I owe you. I brought yams in large tubers. I brought drinks. I paid for you. They made me prostrate. They harassed me. I own you. Oh yeah, cook breakfast. I want fresh meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if a young girl has seen that experience and seen such experience and doesn't want a man to sit in that role of entitlement that I've paid for you and chooses to want to do things differently, our question, what I hear from you is what I hear from you and what I think is I want to uphold my culture. I want to push my Nigerian African culture. I feel it has value, but I don't want the negative sides of it, which is where some men will start feeling because like they own. So how do we help that woman? That balance, how do we balance that culture? How do we promote that?
Mentality that our forefathers had, that, okay, let's exchange. Take my son and give me this. Take my daughter and give me this. So where do we draw the line from culture and valuing human the human being?
I was trying to get to a point because there are some cultures that we have, some practices in our culture that we have felt that isn't serving us and we've discarded them. But I don't think that coming into marriage we should discard the idea of bride price. I think that the idea of bride price should not be for me, when I was getting married, the key thing I wanted my husband to do was that prostrating. I had to even tell, and I've said it several times on the show, that I told my alaga that, see, don't let him pay his way out of prostrating, because when they say you prostrate 50 times, then when you prostrate 10 times, they say pay for the remaining. I told the alaga that he cannot pay for that prostrating. He has to prostrate and say, this is it is in humility I'm coming to seek this person's hand in marriage. So maybe we should do non-financial, humbling process to say, I value this person and I'm going to take care of this person.
Getting somewhere.
Whatever sacrifice it is, whether it's financial or not, something must give. It's like you going to school to study for your certificate. You know the value you want, so you do all the exams, all the tests. You go through that process because of what you are looking for at the end of the day. So not taking away the bride price right now for me is saying because I don't want this effect, I'm not going to do the right things. I also want to say that it's not paying bride price does not necessarily give the man that ownership of you. I disagree 100%. You know why? Because I've seen people who they did not even pay anything and they are bullied in the marriage. They did not even pay anything. They are just living together and they are beaten in the marriage.
I paid for you. There's someone now.
People who have pride. They will feel they paid for everything in the house if they actually did. That is not the culture that makes them. It's just their personalities. So we shouldn't put it on the culture because you paid a certain amount of money. There are people who pay that amount of money who treat their wives better. So it's not on the culture. What separates you from any other woman outside is the fact that something was done on your head. If not, we'll behave like animals. Anybody you go, you pick this one and move.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have our guest, Alaga Drew. Madam, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, fantastic.
I think the network.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you back. Now, we were talking earlier about the fact that, you see, we are all in agreement that culture should be upheld and that it's important to give value for something that you actually value also. I mean, give something for something you value. But our issue is, in modern times, or maybe in these times, do you think we can modify what people are asking for? Yes, in certain cultures it might not be as demanding as others, but can we unify it somewhat such that people don't feel that burden of looking for so much money to get and satisfy the husband's family or the bride's family? Can we find a way to modify it for modern time's sake?
Okay, if I can understand what you're saying, sometimes when the dowry area is exaggerated, probably is something that is enormous for the groom to achieve.
Yes.
Yes, even these days, some families, they've changed what they ask for. Sometimes they won't tell the groom to bring 42 yams. They'll tell him to bring 22 as like half of 42. That is 21 yams, 22 yams there about. And they split almost everything on every year. They split it halfway. And let us keep it in mind that recently, a lot of families don't take bride price anymore because they return the envelope for the dowry. When I mean the bride price, the dowry, the one that is being kept inside the envelope. Some families get to return it to the groom's family, telling them that they are not selling their daughter, they love their daughter, they want her to be taken care of, they don't want problems. That whenever the daughter does something wrong, that they should be able to, sort it within themselves. So I can tell you that recently, we don't have the very big, exaggerated dowry.
So my worry therefore is that if a parent, let me hear me out for a moment. So if parents are saying, take back the money, we cannot send our daughter, doesn't that sound hypocritical? 1 second we're saying it's our culture, we want to uphold the fact that yes, you give something, and then they now bring something and modernization is now saying, oh, I'm not sending my daughter. So which is it? Where are we exactly on this line? Are we canceling bride price? Or are we saying it's an important part of our culture? Are we discarding it? Let us be very clear. I'll come back to you, madam. Let me take this from you.
Ask her a follow-up question. Like, I know that because it's our culture to give something when you're getting married, when anything happens and there is about to be a divorce, is that particular one you put in the envelope that you pay back? Now, those families who are rejecting collecting anything, so if there's a divorce now, are they not getting, how do they leave court? So leave court. Court is not our own. White wedding is not ours. Tradition now. So how do you now dissolve the marriage? What's the significant? What do you use as a benchmark for dissolving that marriage? If you did not collect anything what do they pay back to dissolve that marriage if you let it go? That's for families that don't collect anything at the end of the day.
Yes. But I think basically some traditions like Igbos and probably the Edos, when the couple decides to separate, I think you return whatever is being given to your family for your daughters and in marriage.
Okay.
You get to return. I think it's us Yorubas that we don't do it.
You don't return in Yoruba culture.
Yes, the new groom who will be getting married to the bride gets to give them back what the previously paid on that.
Right.
So let me ask you a more soft question concerning your job as an alaga. It's your job is to be the life of the party. You guys usually make the weddings. A good alaga turns a traditional wedding into like the best thing in the world. What is the part in this tradition that you find most that interests you the most? Which part of it do you feel like I can't do without? This part I always prepare for it, I practice for it. Can you share that with us?
Okay, basically the part I find interesting in our tradition is when the bride is about to step into her husband's family. When our parents, most especially our mother, hug her, pray for her, say something, deep prayers. They will read Quran or read the Bible, say some Bible verses, to send her forth into her husband's family. I think that place is a bit emotional for me, considering the fact that I have 3 daughters. It's not easy for you, the daughter you've raised over the years, to become somebody's wife, and you get to see her once in a while, probably even once in a year. So I think that part it can't be overemphasized.
Very emotional.
It's actually emotional for me.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much.
I
have an interesting twist.
My cousin and her husband, when they are joking, fighting, I will say to him, we are going to come and collect our daughter back from you. He will say, bring my dowry back. I will say, which dowry? Money, you have used the dowry finish. You can't collect nothing. She has got children for you.
Yes, so who pays for those years?
You're not going to pay us now.
Yes, I have an interesting one here. Theo says the difference between baby mama and wife is bride price. And I agree with him 100%. Pacific 101 says payment of bride price is our culture and should never be thrown into the trash because it's so important. This doesn't mean we are buying the lady from their parents. We should all change our narratives. Olajumoke says, I think the bride price should still be in the engagement list, but should be returned back in the presence of everyone. That's what is practiced in my family, and I'm Yoruba from Osun State. My bride price and that of my sisters were returned.
Bashirat Ibrahim says cultural practices should be stopped or encouraged based on whether it's functional or dysfunctional. There are harmful cultural practices and there are those that are helpful. This should be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Abuja Perfume Oil says, is the bride price the same as dowry? Because I think dowry is given to the bride to start her new family and bride price is paid to the bride's parents. PJ Comedian says the actual bride price payment is in most part of the country isn't much. Now the least most times they cause kasala, especially in most parts of the East. Our traditions is our heritage, but we should not allow that heritage to kill us.
Okay, so we have three. I have three tweets I'll quickly take. Familusi Tolu says, you don't pay bride price, you give bride price. I think it's where the misconception comes from. Dunsi Olabi says, who should decide the worth of a woman to be married? The parents or the bride? Whoever decides the worth should decide the token. This way, nobody is God. The parents, the bride, and the groom. Then the most wanted says, I think we're forgetting the actual reason we pay/receive bride price is to compensate the bride's parents for losing a productive daughter and the lineage of future children, as well as someone to look after them in their old age.
Okay, I have a very important one, please. From Abdul Rashid Lawal says, traditional marriage rights is a demonstration of commitment from both sides. Traditionally, it is all family affairs. After the rights, the couple can decide on how to live their lives. If we fail to do it, we only absolve the families from the marriage, and it has implications. The way
we have to run, unfortunately.
have their implications.
That's all we can take. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajibade, for joining us this morning. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we move on to the hottest news in town. Stay with us. We'll be right back.